Here is a more detailed and expanded version of the story for you. The Socratic Method for a Motivated Mind. In the sprawling, sun-baked heart of Athens, the agora throbbed with life. Merchants shouted prices, politicians debated, and citizens bartered for everything from olives to ideas. Lyra, a weaver's apprentice, felt like one of the countless threads in a vast, uninspired tapestry. Her hands, calloused and quick, moved the shuttle back and forth on her loom, her days dictated by the clack-clack-clack of wood on wood. She lived with her father, a pragmatic man who saw weaving as a trade, not an art. "Speed, Lyra, speed," he'd often say. "A full bolt of cloth pays the bills, not a pretty pattern no one asked for." But Lyra's mind refused to be as mechanical as her hands. She was restless, haunted by a quiet, persistent ache of more. She would watch the philosophers, the poets, and the statesmen in the agora and feel a chasm between her life and theirs. She was ambitious, yet paralyzed. Her mind was a loom without a design, her motivation a tangled knot of thread. She had often seen Socrates. He was an odd, unkempt figure, often barefoot, who, unlike the grand sophists, never took money and never gave soaring speeches. He simply asked questions. One afternoon, she paused, her basket of wool heavy on her hip, to listen. A group of arrogant young aristocrats, fresh from their military training, were loudly defining courage. "Courage is standing your ground in battle," one declared. Socrates, who had been listening quietly, tilted his head. "A noble thing, Euthydemus. But tell me, is a soldier who stands his ground because he is trapped and has no choice courageous? Or is he merely desperate?" The young man faltered. "Well, no, he must choose to stand." "So courage involves choice," Socrates mused. "But what if a doctor chooses to stay in a plague-ridden city to tend the sick, knowing the risk? Is he not courageous, though he faces no spears?" "He is," another youth admitted. "Then courage is not just standing in battle," Socrates pressed, his voice gentle but firm. "So, what is this common quality, this essence of courage, that lives in both the soldier and the doctor? Let us examine this together." Lyra was captivated. He wasn't telling them they were wrong. He was helping them see that they didn't truly know what they thought they knew. He was untangling their minds, one thread at a time. Weeks passed, and Lyra's own tangled knot of motivation only tightened. Finally, scraping together a courage she didn't know she had, she approached him at the edge of the market. "Master Socrates," she said, her voice small. He turned, his famously ugly face softened by a kind gaze. "I am no master, child. I am just a seeker, like you. What is on your mind?" I weave," Lyra began, feeling foolish. "But my life feels like the weaving, just a repetitive pattern. I don't know. I want to be significant. But I am just an apprentice, and my mind feels adrift." Socrates nodded slowly. "Adrift. A powerful feeling. Tell me, Lyra, if your boat is adrift, what is the first thing you would wish for?" "An oar," she said. "Or a sail. Or a destination." "Exactly," he beamed. "A destination. You say you wish to be significant. A noble destination. But what does this word, significant, truly mean? If I gave you a bag of gold, would you be significant?" "I would be rich," Lyra said, "but not significant. People would want my money, not me." "What if I made you famous, so all of Athens knew your name?" "They would know my name, but not my worth," she replied, thinking more clearly now. "So significance is tied to worth," Socrates said, his eyes lighting up. "And what, in your eyes, gives a person worth?" This was his method. He was handing her the oar and forcing her to row. Lyra thought for a long time. It is the quality of their soul, I think, and the excellence of their work. To do something well with understanding. Excellence and understanding. Socrates repeated. "Now we have a heading for your boat. You are a weaver. What is the difference between a simple weaver and one who weaves with excellence and understanding?" Lyra's mind flew. "A simple weaver, like me, just follows the pattern. An excellent weaver understands the pattern." She knows why one color bleeds into another, why one thread holds tension and another breaks. She doesn't just copy, she creates. And do you possess this understanding now? No, master, Lyra admitted, a flush of shame rising. I just follow my father's orders. Speed, not understanding. Then, Socrates said, his voice dropping to a near whisper, your mind is not truly adrift, Lyra. It has simply been given the wrong task. It has been told to run, but not where to go. You have a craft. How can you pursue excellence within it? This single conversation changed everything. Lyra returned to her loom, but it was no longer her prison, it was her laboratory. She began to ask Socratic questions of her own craft. Why does this blue dye from Egypt fade, while the purple from Tyre holds fast? What is the true nature of tension? Is it just pulling tight, or is it a balance? What is beauty? Is it just a complex pattern, or is it the harmony between the pattern and its purpose? Her father was annoyed. Too many questions, Lyra. You are slow. I am learning, father, she replied, her voice steady. She took her meager savings to the port and questioned sailors about the dyes they transported. She sought out a mathematician in the Academy's grove and asked him about the geometric principles behind repeating patterns. She looked at statues, at pottery, at the very architecture of the Parthenon, and asked, what makes this endure? She began to experiment. She mixed her own dyes from herbs and minerals, understanding their properties. She designed a tapestry that wasn't just a pattern, but a story, a depiction of Athena granting the olive tree to Athens. Each thread was a choice, backed by knowledge. Kratos, another apprentice known for his speed and arrogance, mocked her. Look at Lyra, the philosopher weaver. She thinks her threads are ideas. A bolt of cloth is a bolt of cloth, Lyra. You will starve with all your understanding. Lyra simply looked at her hands, stained with dye and marked by thought. Perhaps, but an unexamined weave is not worth weaving. Months later, a wealthy patron, a man who had often debated with Socrates, came to her father's workshop. He dismissed Kratos's fast, flawless but lifeless work. Then he saw Lyra's tapestry of Athena. He was stunned. The blue, it's the exact shade of the sea at dawn. And the geometry of the branches, it has perfect proportion. This is not just weaving, it is philosophy. It has a rate excellence. He bought it for a price that left her father speechless. Kratos, humbled, came to Lyra. How did you do this? Lyra, cleaning her loom, smiled. She didn't give him an answer. She simply asked, tell me, Kratos, what do you think is the difference between this cloth in your hand and the one I wove? She had not only found her own motivation, she had found the method to ignite it in others. Her mind, once adrift in the bustling agora, was now a powerful, self-directed force. Socrates had not given her a single answer, but by teaching her to ask the right questions, he had given her the keys to her own motivated mind, and with it, the world.